It's something that has never happened before and could have long-lasting political impacts. Experts are projecting that California will lose at least one congressional seat once the census is finalized, and San Diegans could see a big impact.
I'm here to conduct 2020 census.
The 2020 census officially ended last week, and while we wait for the final tally, outside experts predict California's political voice will shrink for the first time ever.
By the numbers, it looks like California is almost certain to lose one seat, and we are right on the razor's edge of losing a second seat.
Douglas Johnson is a researcher at the Rose Institute at Claremont McKenna College.
And that would mean we have 2 less votes in D.C. when there are votes on which states should get transportation dollars, or what should be water policy, or anything like that matters to California.
It also matters in the Electoral College. California could drop from 55 electors to 53, giving the Golden State less influence in future presidential elections. When the squiggly congressional maps get redrawn, Johnson says it's easy to predict which region will lose the first House seat, eastern Los Angeles County.
We can see that area is way short of population for where it should be to justify the number of seats it has.
He says predicting the second lost seat is trickier. It could get carved out of the agriculture-rich Central Valley, or more likely, he says, from northern San Diego County, in an area covering Solana Beach, Vista, Carlsbad, Oceanside, and into southern Orange County.
When we look at that area, well, of course, the district in the middle is the 49th, and so it's the most likely to get squeezed.
Ultimately, it'll be up to the California Redistricting Commission to redraw the lines, a group created in 2010. They draw crazy shapes because each district has to have equal population within one person, and there are federal requirements about grouping minorities together to ensure they have representation. Democratic Congressman Mike Levin represents the 49th and told me in a statement it's far too early to discuss any changes to the district because there are a lot of unknowns. The latest data came from before the pandemic, and it showed California holding on to the seat, but by a margin of less than 3,300 people.
Keep in mind, talking about 3,000 people in the context of a 40 million population estimate is a tiny, tiny fraction. So the slightest bit of error, or even more concerning, the slightest undercount from the census could trip us into losing that second seat.
The 2 states in line to take the seat are Arizona and Minnesota.
Did they do a better count in California than they did in Arizona and then they did in Minnesota? And that's actually why I think Minnesota is a bigger threat to take our seat.
Minnesota had the highest self-response rate in the country, meaning census workers had fewer people to find through follow-up efforts. Whatever the lines end up being, California's new congressional districts will be in place for the elections in 2022. And Johnson says the biggest surprise in the census data released so far was the low response rates in affluent areas like Malibu and the Hollywood Hills. He says that could contribute to San Diego losing the 49th district, even though our region had high response rates.